chapters 2 and 3. And some of the new characters that were introduced were Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. And one of the big things we noticed about him was he had big blue eyes and big glasses, which were some of the only traits that were given to us about him. And then there were the Wilsons, George and Myrtle. And George, right away we find out that he's a car salesman slash mechanic, and he's not very intelligent to the fact that his wife is having an affair with Tom. And then Myrtle seems, at least to me, to be kind of a con artist, because when she leaves with Tom, he's buying her all sorts of like perfume and a new puppy and all sorts of stuff. So she basically has him wrapped around her finger. And then we also meet Mr. McGee, and we find out right away that he has a pale complexion, but he is clean shaven because Nick notices a spot of shaving cream on his jawline. And then we also find out that he is complimentative because he's giving different compliments to some of the ladies there with about their dresses. And then we also find out that he is artistic.
We ain't done.
My apologies.
That's what sending me. Yeah. Look at this blobfish. Rob? Aha. Alright, so for chapter symbols chapter 2 and 3 symbols I found were the green light and like the color green. So at the end, the green light at the end of Daisy's clock is a symbol of hope and things that Gatsby has been through. And next I found the eyes of the doctor. Like to Nick, the eyes symbolize the past and how it's haunting him, and they could also be like metaphorically the eyes of God because they literally see everything because they're so big. And then the Valley of Ashes. The Valley of Ashes is described as a fantastic farm, which is the exact opposite of what it actually is. But it symbolizes mystery and what lies below, and like a person, what's under the ashes, hidden like the soul and feelings of a person.
Right, so I had important lines.
This thing sucks.
You have to retry and make some changes.
I'm only at 23%.
Should I read it?
I can think the Apple TV 3 was there for the kids.
There we go. So I had important lines, and in chapter 2 I found Myrtle, and he says, these people, you have to keep track of them at all times, and it makes Myrtle look like an ignorant person by the way she speaks. And I found an important line from Nick. It's really his wife that's keeping them apart. She's Catholic and they don't believe in the divorce, and Daisy was not a Catholic. In chapter 3, I found on page 37 in the opening paragraph, it speaks about how the neighbor is very popular and that the wealth Gatsby has can't fill the void with loneliness, but it makes it better. And that's what I got for the important lines.
Okay, so that's it? Okay, we're gonna, do you have any? Yeah, okay. I thought you weren't quite done yet.
And then one of the questions we came up with was, why does Mr. Gatsby not introduce himself to all of his guests? Because when Nick was with Jordan at the party and Mr. Gatsby walked up, Nick didn't even know him, but yet he was the one who invited him to the party. And then also, why does Mr. Gatsby talk to Jordan for an hour? Or like, what does he talk to her about? Because they were gone for a while by themselves, so you don't really know for sure.
Okay, so you say those are level 2 questions. Do you have level 1 and 3 questions?
Well, this one could be a level 3, but we don't.
Doesn't apply to me.
Then they're level, these two are level 2 and we don't have
Okay, so you need all 3 levels. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to your first set of slides. We're going to do some review here because you guys got some parts missing.
To the characters.
Yeah. Okay, and I want to clear up some things. Okay, none of your slides give citations for pages. You need that. I got to know what makes you think the way you're thinking. Okay, so you said one of the characters was Dr. T.J. Eckelberg, and the only thing you could find out was he had big blue eyes and big glasses. Why is that?
It didn't really give us anything about his personality.
Why is that? Somebody want to tell me who Dr. T.J. Eckelberg is and what part he plays here?
That's Mrs. Wilson's husband, isn't it?
No.
What?
Mrs. Isn't that the one that's getting a thing with Tom?
No.
No? I don't know who. Anybody?
Nobody?
I don't know, why don't you ask Scott?
Scott who?
Ask Scott Fitzgerald.
I'm going to tell you, because if you read, you should know. Okay? Go to your books. Go to chapter 2. Take them out. Let's turn there. There's one on the bottom shelf over there. Why don't you just grab that?
Oh, it's like the first page.
Bottom shelf over there next to the where the books are. By the door. Okay, chapter 2, page 23, at the very bottom of the page. Okay, they're driving through the Valley of Ashes. Or they're on the train through the Valley of Ashes. But above the gray land, the spasms of bleak dust, which drift endlessly over it, you perceive after a moment the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. The eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg are blue and gigantic. Their retinas are 1 yard high. It's not a person. They look out of no face, but instead from a pair of enormous yellow spectacles which pass over a non-existent nose. Anybody got what it is yet?
This is a big sign.
It's a big sign. There you go. That's right. Okay? Evidently, some wild wag of an oculist, so an eye doctor, set them there to fatten his practice in the borough of Queens. It's a billboard, right? And then sank down himself into eternal blindness or forgot them and moved away. But his eyes dimmed a little by many paintless days, because the paint has not been reinforced, right? Under sun and rain brood over the solemn dumping ground. Okay, so T.J. Eckelberg is the face on a billboard. And it's a symbol in this book. It's not a person, but it's a symbol of people watching the excess, the destruction in this area, and not caring. Not caring is a huge, I want to say, theme within this book. Okay, pull up your slide again. Let's go some more.
Wait, so Dr. Eckelberg is not actually like a character in the...
No, that's all. He's a sign. He's a symbol. It's basically this eye doctor, Dr. T.J. Eckelberg, put up this billboard of himself. His face is painted on there, and his eyes, even though he no longer is around, that still looks down on the Valley of Ashes. Okay? Okay, the Wilsons. So we don't have any page numbers here telling us like how you know or anything. And that's going to be important. The rest of you, as you go on, make sure you have page numbers. And I'm going to expect you guys to fix this. Okay? I'll go back in and look at it. And I expect there to be page numbers. Okay, so George Wilson. I'm assuming that where you got the part is he's not very intelligent to the fact, or maybe I should ask you, why do you say he is not very intelligent to the fact that his wife is having an affair with Tom?
Because it says so in the book.
Okay, what does it say? And who says it?
He doesn't say it.
No. Because it might tell you more about the person that says it than it does about what's actually happening.
So like on page 34 it says, I married him because I thought he was a gentleman, and then she said finally, I thought he knew something about breeding, but he wasn't fit to lift my shoes.
What does that have to do with him not being intelligent to the affair?
It's just saying he's not intelligent.
No, she's saying he's not a gentleman. What Myrtle is saying there is she's saying that he duped her when she doesn't love her husband because she's upset with him because she feels that he made it out like he had money and was going to give her a good life, and she found out after they got married that he borrowed his suit. Okay? And it upset her. She's like, I thought I married, a gentleman, and no, I didn't. The part you're looking for is earlier.
Yeah, it's on page 26. I just have to find it.
Wouldn't you expect someone to spend a certain amount of time with their fiance to get to know them and not just...
Not in those days, because people didn't really marry for love all the time.
And not in this book.
Apparently not.
People even married for love.
I found part of it.
Okay.
It says, Wilson, he thinks she's going to see her sister in New York. He's so dumb, he doesn't know he's alive.
Okay, who says it?
Wouldn't it be Tom?
Yes. Okay. So Tom doesn't necessarily mean that Wilson's dumb, but Tom thinks he is. Okay? So when Myrtle sends her husband back inside to do something, Tom and Myrtle whisper together about getting out of there and going to New York and having their affair. And Tom says to Nick that Wilson is dumb because he doesn't notice. Okay? There's going to be a bit of irony here about what people don't notice and what they do notice about what's going on. Okay, pull this
Would
up.
that be saying Tom's wife, Daisy, is stupid because she hasn't noticed anything?
Well, she does know,
She does.
but she doesn't do anything, right?
But, yeah.
It's kind of like those eyes of Eckelberg watching over everything that's happening and nothing happening.
It's ironic that Tom says that.
Yes, it is. It is. Okay, pull her back up again. Let's see it. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Myrtle. Wait, don't go past Myrtle yet. Okay, so Myrtle Wilson. Okay, so you say she's a con artist. Okay. Why do you think that she is controlling Tom? Because I would argue that Tom is controlling Myrtle.
She's a gold baby.
What?
She's a gold baby.
She's a gold.
Okay.
Could be if she's with him because he's buying her all these things. It
Okay.
could go both ways.
Okay, so what's the other side?
Tom.
Yeah, I
That's
think
Tom's
she's buying her
side.
things for her to stay, but at the end of the day, it's her choice to stay or not.
Okay, what happens with Tom and Myrtle?
But,
They
okay,
get in a fight,
Tom,
isn't it?
Tom buys all those things to make Myrtle think he loves her.
How do you know that? How do you know it's to make her think that he loves her, to make her think that he's interested in maybe someday marrying her and taking her away? That it's not real, that he doesn't really, that he's using her. How do you know?
Doesn't he say something?
What did you say? They got into...
A fight.
Okay, they got into a fight, and what did Tom do to Myrtle?
Smacked her?
Smacked her, gave her a
All of
bloody
sudden, he
nose.
beats her.
Right. Tom is controlling. It shows us his personality. So why does Tom hit her? What are they arguing about?
Getting...
What is she doing that Tom says she can't do?
She's saying Daisy's name.
Yes.
Who's
Okay.
Daisy?
Who's Daisy?
Tom's
Have you
wife.
read it all?
Okay. So,
Yes, I have.
so Tom is having an affair with Myrtle about, and he hits Myrtle. He's a married man, but he doesn't want Daisy, or he doesn't want Myrtle to say Daisy's name. Okay. So we know he's controlling.
And he still loves Daisy. In a way.
Because why would he not want? Daisy's up here. She's in that society. And Myrtle's down here. She's one of those from the Valley of Ashes, right? She's not. Okay. Later on, remember when Nick came in chapter 1 and Daisy and Tom were asking him, they had heard he was engaged back home, and he said no, he left and he's not getting married. When Nick observes, or he gets the information from Jordan and from Daisy's sister, who is also there, he finds out that Myrtle thinks that Tom loves her and is going to marry her. So you've got Myrtle, and he finds out that Myrtle doesn't like her husband. So Nick asks the big question. If Myrtle doesn't like her husband and Tom's not getting along with Daisy, he's having this affair with Myrtle, why don't they all just get divorced?
And then get married.
And what's the reason? Why doesn't Tom divorce Daisy?
No.
Who's
that
Catholic?
Was a lie. That was a lie.
Okay, that's the lie that's floated. That Daisy is Catholic and she would not permit a divorce. Okay? What do we learn that Myrtle doesn't know about Daisy being Catholic?
She's not a Catholic.
She's not, Nick tells us. So where did that idea come from?
It was a random lie.
Who told it?
Tom.
Tom. And why did he tell Myrtle that Daisy was Catholic so he couldn't leave her?
That was
Because
the
he
excuse
didn't
not
wanna-
to get married.
Exactly. He doesn't have any intention of leaving Daisy for Myrtle. She's just a fling. He's just using her. Okay, let's go to the next one. What's your next slide? Okay, Mr. McKee. There's a Mr. McKee and a Mrs. McKee that are there. Okay, Mrs. McKee is not Daisy's sister. The other class was confused about that. She's a different person. Okay. In what way is, and they don't play a huge part in this story, but how is he artistic? What does he always talk about doing?
Making his paintings of his wife.
The pictures, the photography, right? And she's always telling him you should take pictures of so-and-so and that sort of thing. Okay, go to your next
Like
slide.
100 pictures.
Yeah. So very artsy crowd.
I'm gonna go to the questions.
Whatever your next one was, the symbols. Let's go to the symbols.
I don't remember seeing symbols. Except the billboard.
Okay. I had a problem with your symbols too because you didn't give any pages. So what you got could possibly just be from, I'm going to go online and find out what it says, what are the symbols in these chapters of Great Gatsby. And the problem I have with that is that you don't really learn, okay? If you need that to help you, that's one thing, but look at your first symbol here. That didn't happen in chapters 2 and 3. That was the end of chapter 1. The green light at the end of the dock. I talked about that. Yeah. So you're going to get off on another tangent. You're not really going to understand what you're talking about. So I expect you to put in pages and things like that that are going to show us. Okay. So the eyes of the doctor. Now does this kind of make sense that it's a billboard watching? Okay. The Valley of Ashes. Okay. This is, like, this sounds exactly like you got it off of. What are the symbols in? Okay. The Valley of Ashes, think industrialization. This is where the Wilsons live. It's dirty. People are working. It's very blue collar. This is a very hierarchical society, and these are the people that get used. These are the expendable people. They're not the rich. And the rich in this this book are extravagant They are careless with others, with their money, because they have so much they don't know what it was like to be poor. You guys don't really talk about, in your presentation, I didn't see much about what we learn about Gatsby and the rumors surrounding him and his background, his party. I think chapter 3 is really slighted here. There are some things that I do want you to know. Yep.
I have a question.
Yes. You go ahead and ask.
I was kind of confused on page 26, it says, when Tom say, terrible place, isn't it? And then it said Tom, and he says he's exchanging a friend with Dr. Ecclebird. Is he still considered...
He's exchanging a frown with the billboard.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, you're right. Yep. Okay. Right under that, I think it's important what he says. He says, it does her good to get away. In other words, he's trying to justify his actions for taking Myrtle out of the Valley of Ashes. It does her good to get away, to enjoy a little of the good life, as if that's a good excuse to have an affair with somebody else's wife. Yep.
I'm confused on that part where,
Good.
it's on the same page,
Okay.
but it says he thinks she goes to see his sister in New York. He's so dumb he doesn't know he's alive.
Yes, that's
What?
Tom talking about Wilson. He
So
thinks Wilson is
he's
stupid.
saying that Wilson is dumb that he doesn't know he's alive, or like.
Yeah, that's how dumb he is. He doesn't know he's alive.
Just saying how dumb he is, saying.
It's to that degree that he doesn't even realize he's
Yeah.
alive.
Okay.
Yep. And to be alive, we're talking about Tom, the Buchanans who have a lot of money, have no purpose in life. Their purpose to be alive. How do they know they're alive?
Does Tom have a job?
No. He's inherited a lot of money from years and years ago. No, he has no job. He's got lots of money.
Lucky.
Okay. Okay, so there's a few things I want to draw to your attention. Okay, so chapter 2, let's see, we talked about the justification. Okay, how does Myrtle act when she is in the apartment with Tom?
Like she's rich and has all this money. And
Yes, puts on airs. Yep, good. Okay, let's go to then, and I'll get to that later. Yep.
When are we getting the Saga quiz?
When we get to it. Okay.
103.
Well, we need to get through this first. This is more important. We can always get to the Socrative. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, if we don't, we'll do it next week. Okay. When you get to chapter 3, you should pay attention to the extravagance at Gatsby's place, the rumors that surround him, and whether they're true or not true, and what he tells you. Okay.
Okay, so he does find out what rumors are true and what not. Because I'm done with that part. I'm past that part.
Oh, he finds out.
So he
Yeah,
finds
you
out
find
what
out.
actually happened.
You will find out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the rumors are extravagant and they're
Yep.
crazy and.
One thing you should notice when you get to, I think it's about 45, 46.
Oh, okay, I'm on that page.
Okay, so Nick and Jordan go into the library at Gatsby's during the party, right? And it says toward the bottom of 46, bless you. There's this guy in there, and they call him Owl Eyes. This guy's wearing glasses, the stout middle-aged man. And he's amazed that the books in the library are real. And he keeps repeating that. They're real. What's the point of that?
Well, wasn't this right after World War I, where education and books
No.
were burned?
No. Has to do with Gatsby.
Doesn't he get all those books to make himself look more intelligent?
Okay, it's all about the show. At the bottom it says, it's the bottom of my 45. I'm assuming it's there for you unless you have a different page. The owl-eyed guy says, See, he's cried triumphantly, it's a bona fide piece of printed matter. It fooled me. This fella's a regular bellicoso. Who is bellicoso?
Like
Okay, I didn't know. So I Googled it. This guy's an American theater producer.
so like an actor?
A producer. He's putting on the show, right? That's what Gatsby's doing. It goes on to say, what thoroughness, what realism. He knew when to stop, too. Didn't cut the pages. But what do you want? What do you expect? And then he goes on to say, again, it's all about the show. Think of how Gatsby is at his own party. When the...
He's not really talkative. He's more shy and...
I mean, that's shy, but he is what?
He's like
the
to
word-
himself. Like,
Yes.
Introverted.
Yeah, he doesn't drink, right? All his guests are in a drunken state. He watches the party going on. As the jazz band finishes playing, every guy has a girl with her head on his shoulder, but not Gatsby, right? Gatsby's just watching. He is the producer of the show, okay?
See, I'm surprised, like, because, like, Myrtle and all them, they go for the people with money. And Mr. Gatsby has a lot of money. So why don't people go after him?
That's a good
He
question.
doesn't talk.
What's the difference?
Oh, I want to get into this question.
What's the difference between Gatsby and Buchanan?
He doesn't let people into his life.
And what's the difference between their richness?
He has new money.
Yep, he has new money. He made his money. He knows what it's like to be poor and to change. Buchanan has
know
always
that.
been rich. But they don't know that, right? Nobody knows that.
Because he tells people that he was born into the money.
Mm-hmm.
He puts on
Right.
a show for everyone else.
Exactly.
And I don't know. I'm past this,
Oh.
but like after this, it like talks about like.
Remember we had the paradox quote on the figurative language
That's
about...
on this.
It is, you're right. When Jordan says she likes being in a crowd, a huge party, because it's so intimate.
But it's not a huge party, it's a small party.
No, it is a huge
No,
party, but
she-
how come
she
it's
said-
intimate?
She says, I'm glad this is a large party because I'd rather be at a large party. It's more intimate. Small parties are so in private or something. Like
Yeah, like everybody know they're so personal.
Impersonal, that's what
Yeah.
she said.
She's hiding in a massive crowd because Nick tells us she's a liar at the end of
Not
the...
to start
Sorry.
reading the book.
She's careless and she's a liar.
It's a good book.